What was it?
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Potsy and Tino on the Potsy and Tino Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D-Generation proudly brings to you its tag team. No, sorry. The Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions in the world.
You forgot the X. You said D-Generation proudly brings to you. We're just D-Generation now. We're not even the X anymore.
No, we're not. We're not. But, the Potsy and Tino Show. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents.
Before we get started, we do need to do a moment of silence for Tristan Nash.
Sure. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. As always, folks, when the wrestling community loses somebody, we like to give the 10 seconds of silence. And
ready.
I am ready. And
10 seconds is a long time.
It's a lot of dead air.
Really?
For those that don't know, Kevin Nash's son passed away last week, interestingly enough, on the same day as Scott Hall's birthday.
Yeah.
So that 26 years old.
I read today, he said he had a seizure, which caused a cardiac arrest because they stopped drinking. And it was cold turkey, so it must have been like a withdrawal thing.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
Very well could be. So I do, you know, we both, the show wants to sit there and say that our thoughts and prayers are with Kevin Nash and his family right now. No father should ever have to bury their son.
Dude, I can't even imagine.
I mean, this year just has to be like, like the weight on the shoulders of Kevin Nash right now. I can't even imagine what it's like. It's a bit much.
And right before the holidays.
Yeah, right before the holidays. But I mean, like losing your best friend like right before WrestleMania, when apparently there was going to be some NWO like thing going on at WrestleMania weekend, and then losing your son, but losing your son on the birthday of your best friend who passed away earlier this year. Like you can't script that. That's and you don't want to script that. But I mean, it's a bit much there. So we've got Michael Turner and Chris Barrett in the audience.
Yo.
Gentlemen, hello. We're
Jessamine. I don't know.
I thought you said Jessamine, like Jessamine Duke.
No, I said now I'm not saying Jessamine. I'm like Jessamine.
A gentleman.
Yeah, I'm saying
gentleman. So anyway, so yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Kevin Nash for that. It's I can't imagine it. Especially considering last year, like I had two really close friends of mine pass in like a week of each other and everything.
Yeah, it seemed like it was real close.
Yeah, it was, and we just like a couple, like now it's been a couple months, but it's just over 1 year. Hung out with Mark last week, and Mark was obviously here with us on that show, remembering my buddy Chris.
It's been a year.
It's been over a year. Yeah, that was July of last year.
Damn.
You know what's funny about like how
we were upstairs.
Yeah, we were.
Because it was right before I hurt my knee.
Yeah, and we've moved the show downstairs since then. But and Mark's actually been like, Potsy, I come over, and I'm like, Mark, we do it in the living room now. There's not really a lot. I mean, he could be sitting right here.
Yeah, we can fix it to where put it out there. So we can fix it.
Well, I got the camera hooked up at my workstation now because the camera they sent me stopped working.
How long will it take, to?
Oh, I just have to unplug it and plug. Well, wouldn't be able to use this because we're using the iPad right now. So I'd have to figure out a way to hook the PC back up and actually get it all set up that way. And I don't know if the cable on that is long enough to have it over there while we're here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'd probably have to bracket it off of the table thing right here, or come up with another setup. And right now,
cool if we can see ourselves on that while we were doing it.
I mean, that is something that I could actually set up.
That would be
not with this again. Like I wouldn't be able to do it with this, but the downside to even that is that I don't know if we'd see the chat on that. So you know what I mean? Like we still have to see this to see the chat. So
figure it out.
So what are you guys going to do Halloween this year? Any plans? Well, Michael, I'm glad you asked because we always start the show with a little subject called "What's Up with You?" So Tino, why don't you go ahead and break down the walls and tell us what you got planned?
Well, this past weekend, I got to start with this past weekend because I swear I never laughed so hard. My son's a jackass. So we went.
Your son's been doing some dumb shit. He's not my son anymore. He's obviously yours.
No, these are yours. He's yours. That's why. That's why you need to back. You got to start paying for them because this is because of you. But we went to Cary. It's Phillips Farm. It's called Phillips Farm, but in Halloween they do like a fear farm. So during the day they have like the corn maze and the pumpkins and the games for the kids. But at night, like a couple of weeks before Halloween through Halloween, they turn it into the fear farm. And that maze during the day, at night they've got like people popping out at you and all that stuff, chainsaws and all that stuff. It was closed. That part was closed this year because I guess when the storm came through, it messed up the corn maze. So they couldn't use that, but we still went on the ghost ride. Well, they've got two haunted houses. One is called the Grindhouse, and that's just where they do all the just nasty stuff. And then they have one's called, I think it's like the Fun House. And that's where the clowns live. So, you don't like clowns either?
I don't mind clowns, but clowns, like when you see clowns, they're never clowns anymore. They're always like dirty clowns.
Well, these were like clowns with hatchets. So
yeah.
So we went to the Grindhouse. Matthew decided now he's 13, where he's going to be, Dad, I'm gonna go up front and then put Mom in the middle, and Dad, you stay in the back because they will pick you off. That's so I'm in the back because that's where you get picked off. Really, son, what ended up happening is as we went through, the clowns or whatever jumped out at them, and because I'm in the back, they had to reset. So I saw when they jumped, so they can't jump out and scare me again. So I was like, ah. And so we went to the Grindhouse. He didn't really get scared. We came to the.
He's at that age where he's not having fun with that stuff anymore either.
But he didn't get scared. He got startled. A couple of times, like, oh, I mean, it got him. Yeah.
always doing the bow up.
And a couple of times, he was like, what the? And he looked. And,
what you about to say, boy?
And so, then we go to the clowns.
Mm-hmm.
So the clowns got him more than once. So one time, this clown came out of no because it was dark. We came around the corner, and it got me too, but I was in the back. So as we came around the corner, it's like real dark, but it has like those things hanging. And we were looking towards the light. We're trying to go. Well, that's what they wanted because that motherfucker came out from the. Matthew fell and screamed.
And I bet he sounded like a little bitch.
He sounded like a bitch.
Like one of
high pitch, yeah. The only one got me because I didn't realize that it was like it was standing up on top of something.
Did he jump down?
No, but it was like a metal box thing, so he stopped. He had the combat boots, so it echoed through it right in my ear. I was like, "What?" And that got me. So the funny part happened at the end. So every year, and it always comes from the right. Every year, the dude, the chainsaw, right? So Matthew and Nicole are looking to the right, and I happen to glance to my left, and he was there.
So they moved him.
Yeah, they moved him. And he couldn't get things started. And it was like quiet. He couldn't at first, and they didn't notice him. Rob, when I tell you he did that, and that chainsaw kicked in behind them, Nicole screamed. She pushed Matthew. He took off running. I just stopped, and I was laughing. she pushed Matthew to get him out the way, and they're both running and screaming, right? And so I'm like, go get him. And the guy went up. And I
He
could
just
hear
left
them,
you alone.
I could hear them screaming all the way out. And he came back. I'm like, good job, thank you. And he gave me a high five.
Well, you know as well as I do that, when a zombie apocalypse, you don't have to be the fastest one.
That's what I told Nicole.
You just got to be faster than you.
Yep. So, but that's not the funny part. So, yeah, that's the funny part. I get outside. Nicole is in tears. She's laughing so hard. I'm like, what is so fucking funny? Well, when they get out of the clown house, like right when you get outside, there's gravel, like a little gravel area. My son, as he was leaving, slipped on the gravel and fell.
Did he get cut up?
And he got up. I'm okay. His whole front of his shirt was like black and dirty from where he fell. His hands were all. I'm like, no, you're not okay. Nicole was crying. I was laughing my ass off. So
you got a high five from the guy with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
They brought back my favorite Geico commercial.
Which one?
Which is the one where it's like in a horror movie, people make bad decisions, and all of a sudden you see them. It's like, let's all go hide behind the chainsaws.
Yes.
And they do it, and then they see the guy with the chainsaw, and he's like,
yeah.
Shane and I, every time we see that one, we laugh our asses off because
that's true.
So those that don't know, I hosted a panel a couple of years ago at Carolina Fear Fest for Linnea Quigley, and Linnea Quigley is known as one of the Scream Queens.
Yeah.
Wonderful woman, amazing woman, but she did this movie called What Would Linnea Do, which was her basically taking all the tropes from horror films that like young starlets always seem to end up in and being like, I wouldn't do that.
That's funny.
And it's hilarious. Now, granted, I have a copy of the movie. It's over there. It is not the greatest quality, but remember how I told you that we threw the greatest Easter egg in junior high horrors, Return of the Walking Flu, where we had our friends, the Catherine and Barry in it as humans, even though in The Walking Dead they were always zombies in The Walking Dead. Well, they're both in the film. Okay. So they're two of the main characters, but it's done in a documentary style of like, this is what you're supposed to do in this kind of moment.
Oh my God.
So like, there's a scene in it where they show, and it's like, why is it that every time a girl runs off from the haunted house, from
Falls?
Well, they did that one too, but it was she's running away from the building she just came from. The car comes up behind her, and she goes, "Can you give me a ride?" And it's the killer in the car that's sitting there like, "Oh yeah," like
There's
Kool-Aid Man kind of shit.
Cute thing. So, why you fall? Why, when you fall, you just lay there and scream till they catch up to you?
How much did you pay the guy to get them?
And right, I didn't. And why you running top fucking speed and like Michael Myers is just walking and catches you.
So in junior high horrors, we actually talked about how like while JV never seems to look like the fastest one, he always seems to finish the race before everybody else.
Yeah.
And that was like in the very first
like
background piece, we actually did like little character profiles, and that was one of the things that we did. He also, he doesn't like to swim, but he won the swim meet in issue number 6, where he basically just walked across the bottom of the river or the lake. And
I never understood these about these horror movies.
Well, see, they're the horror movie tropes, like just like every movie has them, like an M. Night Shyamalan film. You always know that at the end of it's Shyamalan Ding Dong. They're going to have that moment where it's like, what the twist? And I remember Robot Chicken made fun of it by going, what the twist?
Mm-hmm.
But they did that in every, he does it in every single one of his films. So like at this point, you're like, all right, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? And in his most recent films, which were like not Dr. Sleep, but or Mr. Glass, or Glass was the name of the film. The one before that, which was about how James McAvoy had all the multiple personalities, they did an after credit scene, which was the twist, which was all of a sudden you found out it was in the same world as Unbreakable, and that's why they did the movie Glass.
There we go. Yeah.
You know, but and all of his movies do it. Like I remember the one that had Mel Gibson in it, and all of a sudden the twist was that M. Night Shyamalan, who died earlier in the movie, was the main character because he told them how to take on the aliens.
Sixth Sense, and then no,
yes,
that was one of his.
Yeah, it was his first.
Yeah, that fucking got me.
That one got everybody.
Fucking movie. Like, wait, what?
That one got everybody because the little kid kept talking to him.
Yes,
but nobody else did.
And I figured that out towards the end. But I'm like, maybe he's just a dick, and they're like, "Fuck you."
Well, there's even moments where like the kid is at a restaurant and he's sitting with them, and like somebody's like wiping the table or whatever. So you think that not like you're supposed to think,
yeah.
But yeah, no, they didn't have those moments. Michael Turner says that at the North Carolina State University they have 3 new ice cream flavors.
I'd say fair, yeah.
Well, it just says at NC State University because you know they do the they do that campfire ice cream year long.
Yeah.
And as long as you go to wherever they, you know, like Trolley over in Briar Creek actually sells that ice cream. And that ice cream's delicious, by the way.
What's it called?
It's called Campfire.
And
it's got like a cinnamon flavor to it. It's got it's basically they're trying to make a s'more.
Got you.
So it's like a marshmallow ice cream, chocolate, a little bit of cinnamon.
That sounds pretty good.
And yeah, and that ice cream is delicious. Let's see. How much did you pay the guy to get them? We already talked about that. Because Michael can teleport. That's why. So I've got some real feelings about the new Halloween movie, by the way. Well, I won't talk about it then. Halloween ends. Can I say one thing about it?
You can piss other people off, not just me. You know, people hate when you get spoilers.
Well, it's not. I won't do anything to spoil it, but I will say that at one point I was assuming that they were going to play the song "Let Me Tell You About My Best Friend," and that's all I'll say about it. And from there, you guys can watch it on Peacock because you know we've all got the WWE Network, and Halloween Ends is on Peacock. Yeah. Did I tell you? I don't remember if I actually said this last week. I don't think I did because I think when I got done, I was like, "Damn it! I should have talked about this." Did I tell you about the Carolina Reaper caramel that I had?
Yes.
I told you, or did I tell the show?
I told the show.
Okay, because I was just talking about that earlier tonight, and I was like, man, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, I'm willing to do stuff like that. But anyway, what else you got going on? What are you doing Halloween?
So
karaoke?
No. So I got. What have we got?
Come on, you can come out with me.
No.
It's Monday night.
I know it's Halloween. I have a son who's
who's gonna go out like Sunday night because that's gonna be the night that you get candy.
Neighborhood. No, who's going on Monday?
They're not gonna give out candy on Monday.
They give out candy on Halloween night, which is Monday. Yes.
Do they give it out on Sunday night too? Because I would go out both nights.
No, they go out Monday night.
Because I like candy.
So
candy.
Thursday, no, Saturday, my neighbor across the street is going to have a Halloween party / 18th birthday for his daughter. So we'll just go over there and I'll get.
Have you tried this?
Yeah, I tried it last time. And we're going to get trashed there probably.
Have you tried this?
Oh, I don't like pumpkin pie.
And then it's like pumpkin pie.
Sunday we've got my youth group Halloween party, and then Monday we've already decided while he's doing his thing because he wants to be with his friends. We always see those parents that sit out and hand out candy, but they also got the adult. So we're going to be out there with Jello shots and in our cul-de-sac we have Jello shots and different mousse.
Should I take Should I take November 1st off?
It's a chocolate mousse thing. I got to figure out. We got to get together and figure out. But yeah, we'll definitely be drinking.
So I don't think I will be drinking, but I do plan on going to karaoke because Are you done telling everybody about what's going on with you?
Yeah.
You playing anywhere this weekend?
No, chilling.
So I did a thing, and they can't see it here.
Oh, I'm not saying what the.
No, they can't. They can't see it yet.
Oh no.
And
If they saw it on Facebook.
if they're part of I don't think Chris Barrett's on our Facebook.
On your Facebook?
I don't think he is.
Okay.
But so everybody knows that I write a comic book called Junior High Horrors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the artists for it, by the name of Sean Beck, is a tattoo artist in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is about 2.5 hours away from where I live. And he always told me that he'd love to tattoo those characters on me.
Right.
And I had no tattoos.
Your tattoo version.
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, I've designed tattoos for other people, but I didn't have any myself. So today I had a random day off because I had requested it a couple months ago. Some other stuff came up with what was supposed to happen. So I messaged him last week and said, hey, like you told me that if I find a random day during the week, we could set it up and I could come out to the tattoo shop and you could do the tattoo. And he was like, contact me on Saturday, make sure that I don't have anything going on. So otherwise I was just going to be sitting here playing video games and watching TV shows and shit all day.
That's normal.
Maybe trying to clean the house a little bit, but
yeah,
it's cleaner than it was last time you were here. Yeah, it is. So I still have to clean up more, but anyway.
Fucking songs in my head.
Let me tell you about the
That's
best.
rich.
Yeah, well, Chucky's back on TV now.
I know. We've already had a discussion about Peacock. I'm pissed at Peacock.
Yeah, because it didn't just show up. So anyway, I went down to Wilmington today. I drove down at 9:00 in the morning, and I showed up 15 minutes early. Sean showed up right on time, right at noon. He said be here by noon, blah blah blah, and I got his Junior High Horrors #3 cover tattooed on my arm.
That is so fucking.
And you're looking at it right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And for everyone, there it is.
Show them what you showed me, like the actual picture.
So yeah, so what Tino's talking about is
see.
Michael may actually have this. You can actually see the actual cover that Sean drew, as well as the actual tattoo. Now, granted, it's going to take about a week or two to actually heal properly. So I had to stop. And the reason why we were a little bit late was I had to stop and get distilled water from my CPAP machine. I had to get some of the stuff that you're supposed to wipe on it. Yeah, the bacillus, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and some plastic wrap and stuff like that to just pop on there.
Yeah, because you can't get that wet.
Actually, he said just don't get it really wet. So don't take a bath or don't go in a pool with it right now. Yeah. But he was like, yeah, you can shower and do whatever. So okay. What he's more worried about is me going to bed and having it get all over my bed sheets with like the plasma that comes out of your arm or whatever. But interestingly enough, it really hasn't leaked. So I hold my mud pretty well, I guess.
Did it hurt?
Not really. You want to know what hurt is? So for anybody that's watching that has no tattoos,
I have 5. I mean, it's your first one. That's why I asked you, did it hurt? Did it hurt you?
I have a high threshold of pain. Okay, so like what a lot of people would sit there.
When I Ric Flair chop your ass, you go, it hurts. When I go, wow,
dude, that's a Ric Flair chop. That's different.
But you got a high threshold of pain.
Yeah. Everybody who takes a Ric Flair chop sits there and says, don't you ever fucking do that again. And I'm right. Because if you hit correctly and your hand turns purple, like
I get you when I get you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And I go, woo!
We all do. But I mean, so the way I described it was like when you're doing just the line work or whatever, it was fine. It was me. Okay, cool, whatever. Like, do you get like does it hit the bone a little? Like does it hit the wrong? Sure.
The shadowings would kick your ass.
The shadow. So here's what's funny too, because Sean basically was like, he got done the outline. He goes, "You're done," and I got up and I'm looking at him like, "Yeah, okay, I'm cool." And we just sat there and started bullshitting about something, and he's sitting there talking to me about something. We're just bullshitting about like a project he's working on, because he's worked on movies like Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. He's working on something else that's a Netflix project right now. You know, he does all these side projects. He's sitting there telling me, he sent me a script that he wrote, because I told him if he wanted to adapt it into a comic book, I could help him do that. And we're sitting there talking and bullshitting, and he goes, "All right, sit back down."
Mm-hmm.
And I sit back down, and that's when he decided to do all the shadowing, right? And I'm going to tell you. So my friend Tessa, bartender at Ruckus,
okay,
she was like, when they're doing the shadowing, it's going to feel like cat scratching.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of cat she has scratching her, but I'm going to tell you, it didn't feel like that. Okay? That felt like, and the best way to describe it, folks, is when you're getting a cavity filled and you're getting to the point where, like, all of a sudden the Novocaine starts wearing off.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, you get that little bit of, and you're like, I'm not going to have them sit there and hit me with another needle. Like, because I've had a cavity right between my two front teeth, right here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, there's nowhere to put the needle. So when they hit you with the, like your face feels like it's like this. So I'm going to tell you, this, when he's shadowing, feels like that, right? Not at the beginning, but after it starts to wear off. And you're just like, just grin and bear, right? And that, I would say that was the most painful part. But you know what actually was the most painful part? Because I told you I took him out to lunch afterwards. Mm-hmm. He wrapped it up. He, hit it with the Vaseline and everything else, and wrapped it up and taped it and everything. And what he was like, "Hey, because I drove out to the lunch place, I'll go ahead and I'll rewrap it when we get back to the place. That way, if any of the ooze or whatever," because he's basically telling me that your blood's plasma is trying to actually create a scab on it, and you don't want that, because if you get a scab on it, when the scab actually like molds off, it's gonna remove some of the ink. So you wanna sit there and stop it from scabbing and do all that. Which, cool knowledge. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So when we get back to the shop, I'll sit there and I'll retape it. I'll wrap it for you." I'm like, "Cool, that sounds great," because I got a 2.5 hour drive home. So we get back to the place, and you want to know what hurt the most? Him ripping off the fucking tape that just happened to grab like 4 hairs on my arm.
He didn't shave everything.
He just shaved where he did the tattoo. Yeah. So, but he's and it was like, and I was wondering if he was gonna, like, I would have just went like and done it myself this morning, not even thinking, like, if you had said, "Hey, I need it shaved," okay, zip, done.
Probably did it good. It's good that he did it there, because even if you'd done it that morning, your hair grew back so quick, it might have had a little.
I don't know if my arm hair would grow back that quick. I mean, because I don't shave my arms, so like now I'm gonna have like a little more of a patch here than I have anyway, whatever. But like him ripping the hair off underneath on the underside, and I'm like, okay, that hurt. And he goes, "Dude, like, the entire time you're sitting there getting the tattoo, you're not sitting there flinching. You're just like, every time I tell you to move your arm, you're moving your arm. You're doing exactly what I want you to do to sit there and get it done. You're not doing it." I pull a piece of tape off, and you're sitting there. I'm like, that's what fucking hurts.
Yeah. Grab that here.
Oh, yeah. And it always, like, you can't. Okay, let me slow pull. No. You got
to rip it off.
Well, you do, but like either way, it hurts. Yeah. It's just you're delaying the inevitable if you slow pull. But yeah, so I was like, bro, like, that always hurts. Like, and it's not even like it hurts. It's just one of those things where it's like you always go, "Ow!" Yeah, like it's just reactionary. Whatever. So also got a couple more pages of Immortal this week. So I've been coloring those. Okay. And last week when I was at Fayetteville Comic Con, I might have mentioned it, but one of the artists there was like, "Hey, I'm ready to draw one of your stories."
Yeah, I think you did.
So yeah, so
and you forgot to tell me what it was.
recessive.
You told me off the air, but you didn't.
Recessive is what it is.
Oh, I didn't know.
So the story about a kid that has no superpowers.
Oh, okay.
So I'll explain more because I can't really that one I don't want to sit there and say anything about because like somebody will steal that idea. It's a pretty good idea. But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on with me. Go back to work tomorrow. It was nice to have just a random day off in a random week that's not a holiday or like. And I've still got a couple more days that I can do that this year. So who knows? He wants me to come back down sometime after like 3 or 4 weeks go by after it's healed, so I can sit there and get color done on it. So I'll get the color work done. It'll actually look like the cover. Pretty excited about that. And already like going, okay, now I need 3 or 4 more.
Yeah.
So, however, I think after I'm done that, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people that, like, my whole idea is getting tattoos of my characters.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if all of a sudden I have a hit, then yeah, I'll sit there and, like, Junior High Horrors were putting on hiatus for a while, so I thought it was the perfect time to get a tattoo of it. Especially since, Immortal and Artie are both going to be coming back next year in a comic book. Mm-hmm. So I like right now I figured this is the perfect time to get this. I got to figure out where I'm going to get the Immortal character, where I'm going to get Artie, because those are what's planned next. And I'll probably work with Sean about doing covers for the books. He's already done a cover for Immortal #1 when it comes back. So, and he even was like, Rob, I drew that so long ago. I kind of want to redraw her at this point. I'm like, bro, do what you want to do. Like, you want to redraw the entire thing, like, that's great. But remember, it's going to be a whole series. So if you want to do 4 or 5 covers, I'm cool with that too. Like, and what I'll probably do is take one of those covers and go, let's go ahead right here. Yeah. Although I got a lot more freckles right here. So I don't, like, I'm pretty surprised at how clear this is with the freckles and everything, But what I thought was funny was when I get color done, he doesn't have to color in his arms or anything because I'm about as pale as you get. So like the character JV, who's supposed to look really pale,
you ain't gonna worry about color.
He's already colored in. so but I mean that's the way I feel about it. So what do you want to talk about first in terms of wrestling? You want to talk Halloween Havoc? I don't have a thing listed here, but that was Saturday.
I don't remember shit from last week.
Yeah,
I'm thinking anything big happened.
Dynamite. You had Jericho versus, was it Dalton Castle?
Yeah. Was that Dynamite?
Yeah, it was Dynamite. It was Dynamite. The Jericho versus Dalton.
Yes, and that's when Hangman and Hangman get hurt. Was that Tuesday?
Yes, that was Tuesday because that was all during. We were actually doing our show, and we almost said, "Do you want to do the show tomorrow?" So that way we can actually, because there was 4 hours of wrestling going on during that.
Did you see? And it was a simple move. It was a Jericho hit him with a clothesline. He flipped. He sold it. Moxley, I'm sorry. Moxley hit him with a clothesline, hit Hangman with a clothesline. Hangman sold it. He did like the backflip or whatever. But he landed wrong.
There's a lot of people. So we'll start with this. Yeah. We might as well because I mean, even MJF after Dynamite sat there and tweeted #prayers for Hangman. The match ended just, it was.
Well, had to, yeah.
It was match ended. Moxley sat there and they must have given him a cue from the referee or something that was, we still got 5 minutes, go ahead and call out MJF or whatever just to do that. And of course he's like here's hoping Hangman makes recovery, blah blah blah. MJF, get your ass out here, let's go ahead and do this right now. Like, I'm here, you're here, the show's not over, let's do this. And you got one of those crazy moments where it's like they got to do something.
And thank God MJF was quick enough to realize. They must have told him something backstage too. So just go out there, tease it, take your jacket off, tease it.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that think that this was work.
Why?
Because of how they ended the show.
I think that was
because it was. I mean, but it was really quick thinking, and it was all put together. And they had like an entire thing, and it was like, nope, not doing this now. We're doing it at full gear, right? So it was like,
I think that might have been.
I mean, it might have been communicated, and it might have been communicated.
It might have been planned for him to beat Hangman, and that might have still been what was going to happen. They just had to push it.
But you know what? You're absolutely right. It could be that, and I'm okay with that because wrestling is a quick thinking business when cards subject to change happens, right?
No one hurt.
Yeah, I'd rather not talk about that.
Yeah, but I'm saying this they.
Well, yeah, but the WWE made the wrong decision by not telling the employees what actually had. Well, not employees, but the independent contractors what actually was occurring at the time. Now, granted, a lot of that's because they might not have had the information because they sent him in a hospital to a medical facility / hospital, and the hospital hadn't given them the information that he passed away yet. I kind of get that. At the same time, like when Eddie Guerrero passed, it was in his hotel room that night before the event. And I still remember watching the pre-show and them going, we've just gotten word that Eddie Guerrero has passed away. And I'm sitting there like, what the? Like,
it's the same thing with Pillman.
Yeah, well, the Pillman one, yeah, absolutely. I was sitting there, I was like, this is a fucked up storyline. And I'm like 14, 15 years old. Like, I don't even remember how old I was at the time. I'm like, this is a fucked up story. And then I'm like, oh, shit, it's not a story. He actually died. Like, what the fuck? Right? And Eddie Guerrero, same thing. Like, they found him the night before, and they're sitting there explaining to us that he's not here anymore, and the show must go on. And you're like, I don't even know how to react to that.
Yeah.
But with Eddie Guerrero, see, I didn't know the whole Pillman situation because the internet was still new at that time, right? With Eddie Guerrero, like, I had seen a physical change in his body where he went from being a small cruiserweight when he was with ECW and WCW to fucking jacked. And everybody, like, we're all sitting there going, that dude's on something, right? And the whole time I'm like, I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. And then all of a sudden you hear stories of that he went into rehab, he came out of rehab, and then he ended up passing, like, after winning the world title and everything else. But, it's because they rewarded him for coming out of rehab and actually being a clean and new man. And then his heart gave out.
Yep.
It's so sad when you think about it and everything. With Hangman, Hangman basically tweeted out the day afterwards, basically saying that they let him out of the hospital. He had a concussion. I mean, it was nasty looking. Yeah. It was nasty. And like with Hangman himself, I can't imagine how he felt like having that happen, but I can't imagine how Moxley felt. Like, knowing that, like, he clotheslined a dude and could have broken his neck, could have, severely injured.
I don't know how he kept his composure. Like after the match, like, he went on to, prayers for him, and he went on with that promo. I'd have been somewhere else. I'd have been like, I wouldn't have been able to.
I wonder if by the time they got Hangman out of there, they rolled him to the back and everything else, that, like, suddenly, like, they were like, okay, he's up, he's talking, he's walking, he's, like, doing stuff.
Yeah.
And go to the referee, and the referee's like, he's at least walking and talking, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it just go with the story. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, knowing Moxley's own demons, I would think that he's able to sit there and go, okay, the show goes on. Yeah. Let me finish the show. like it's so weird to think about. It's so weird to think and everything else. Eddie Pillman, Benoit, wow, you're sitting there putting Benoit in there, Chris Barrett. It's still such a sore point in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, it's Brody Lee. I agree with that one. Like hearing that he passed away and everything was just knowing that he was on his way up in the industry. Like when he finally got his moments and everything else. Yeah. So, but I want to talk about something else from Dynamite that I absolutely do remember. And it still involves MJF.
That fucking fire promo. I remember you texting me.
Both of those fucking fire promos.
The first one.
MJF coming out and saying, I want to tell you all a story. And I want to remind you, William, I'm not out here to fight you so you can put those knuckles away.
Well, because he had the ring, and Rick was like,
And he's like,
he put the ring in his pocket.
He's like, I'm just here to talk. And he's like, I want to remind you of a moment in my life when I was 19 years old, and you told me, keep it up, kid. The WWF or WWE is looking for you, and we want you. So do me a favor and email me videos of your matches, and you will have a job with us when you are ready. So he sends him the matches. The first month goes by. William Regal sends a blanket email back that says, keep it up, kid. Keep sending me those videos. The second month goes by, gets the exact same email back. That third month comes up, and it's like,
stop sending me this shit.
He's like, I appreciate you thinking that I need to see all this, but the WWE isn't a place for somebody who hasn't made a name for themselves yet. So keep it up, and like when you're ready, we'll come find you. You don't need to come find us. And
I was like, shit.
And it was such a real promo, and yet the question is, did that shit ever really happen? Because nobody's gonna say yes or no to it, right? But William Regal grabs the microphone. And Tino, that there's one word that he says that I pop for every fucking time.
Sunshine.
When he calls people sunshine, I lose my shit. Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I lose my shit every time he does it.
It's funny as shit.
And he sits there and he goes, is that all it took, sunshine? Is that all it took? Because when I was 17 years old in Blackpool, England, and I'm getting my ass kicked every night, and I'm walking home with black eyes, and I'm sleeping in cars, and I'm sleeping on benches, and you're sitting there saying that an email riled you up to that point. I want to go ahead and say, you're welcome. Because, sunshine, if that's all it took to rile you up to the point till you got to where you are right now, you owe me everything. And it's like, I want to see a match between these two right fucking now. Like, I don't care that William Regal hasn't wrestled a match in 15 years. I don't care that he sits there and he says he's not medically cleared. I need a match between these two.
The best part of that, I mean, and the whole thing was fire. Regal turned his back.
Oh yeah. And then he goes, because he was like, do you want to know why they always called me? What did they call him? They call him the
villain, something villain.
It was like the nice villain or something.
No, the original villain or something. Because he said because I don't beat up announcers. I don't take liberties. I mean, he talks shit about him.
And then he goes, when I break out the brass knuckles, sunshine,
it's just I like it.
It's because I like hitting people with them, and I like the violence. It's got nothing to do with that's how I'm going to. I can beat you in the ring already. Yeah. I just do that because I like it.
Yeah.
And then you're right. He goes. He basically broke it down, and I'm paraphrasing because obviously I don't remember the exact words. I want to watch it again. I saved the episode of Dynamite because I like when I got done watching it. I was like, Tino, are you watching Dynamite? And he's like, no, I'll watch it later. And I'm like, fucking MJF and Regal promo, and like 1 o'clock in the morning, you message me, and you're like, holy shit,
that was fire.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, and finally he sits there and he goes, if you really think that you're a bad enough man,
yeah,
go ahead and take your shot. And he turns around and he holds his arms out like this. And MJF puts the ring on his pinky and he balls it up. And then he just
can't do it.
He's like,
And you said babyface turn.
Apparently it's not. Like everything internally is saying that they're not turning on babyface. But dude,
people are cheering. They're not gonna have a choice. Just like who saying?
So and that by the way was in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is Jon Moxley's hometown, and they were booing MJF at the beginning, and when he gave that fire promo, they couldn't help but cheer him.
And then, like we talked about Bray Wyatt, they're not going to be able to turn Bray face because the fans are going to cheer him. I think.
Well, MJF, we'll talk about Bray Wyatt when we get to SmackDown because
I think MJF's going to have that. What do we always call it? The Rock, the Stone Cold. He's never really going to turn face. People
he has changed though.
Yes.
You and I have already said that he's changed. He suddenly is saying that he respects Wheeler Yuta.
Yes.
He's showing he respects William Regal. He's showing that he respects Jon Moxley. He's sitting back and letting it come to him, which isn't a heel move. He'll sit there and run down the aisle and say, I'm cashing in, hit the babyface over the head with the cash-in device, and then pin him 1, 2, 3 and take the title. Yeah. He's not doing that. Since he has been back, he cut that amazing Buffalo promo where everybody was calling him like everyone was cheering him. Moxley came out and showed, and he's like, did you guys really think that I was a babyface? Because you guys are fucking crazy. Because I'm really still the villain. I'm the devil.
Yeah.
And he gets cheered everywhere now. When you get cheered while Jon Moxley is in his hometown, Jon Moxley's in the ring sitting there staring you down saying, I want you tonight. And you're sitting there saying, the heel move, I don't want you tonight. I want you at Full Gear. But then they baby-faced him because he said, I don't want you tonight because you just wrestled a whole match. I want you at Full Gear because you're going to be 100%.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is a babyface fucking move. So I don't care if they're telling you that he's heel. I think that they're going to try to pull a double swerve, and the double swerve isn't going to be needed because he's already a fucking babyface.
Yeah.
Unless he does every dirty trick in the book and tries to make you hate him again at Full Gear. And by the way, it's not going to work.
Like Hogan and Rock. What was that? Was that when they did was that the double turn? Or no, it was Stone Cold.
Stone Cold and Bret Hart. But that one worked because Bret Hart walked in as the babyface, and then he got dastardly. And Stone Cold walked in as the heel.
They could do that with Moxley. So let me try this. So Moxley goes in, they're facing. Same thing. Moxley could get pissed off. Why are you cheering this guy? Oh, you're going to cheer this guy? Well, watch this. You know what I'm saying? It could piss him off that they're cheering.
So here's the problem with that. Moxley's too over as a babyface. What you're basically going to run into in this match is that you're going to have babyface versus babyface, whether you want it or not.
Warrior versus Hogan.
Yeah. Or like the second Austin versus The Rock until Austin turned on him.
Yeah.
Right? Or even the third Austin versus The Rock. Like, I know it was Hollywood Rock, but when that match started, we were cheering everybody. You know, like it's Shawn Michaels Undertaker.
Okay.
And obviously not in the level, because I hate to say it, as over as Jon Moxley is, he's not Shawn Michaels, he's not Undertaker. As over as MJF is, he's not Moxley, he's not Shawn Michaels, he's not Undertaker. But it's you know what it is? It's Usos versus the New Day.
Gotcha.
Like, one of them's supposed to be the heel. But by the time that match is over, they're shaking hands and sitting there saying, you put us through the ringer.
Yep. Okay.
That's what it is. Because they're not, like, even though they're at the top of the card in AEW, they're not at the top of wrestling. Like, nobody is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, besides Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
There's one more thing I did want to say about.
Sure, go ahead.
Because it's not really a whole lot that happened.
Sure.
Saraya came out and got physical.
Yep.
I was surprised to see that.
Well, she's cleared to wrestle, apparently. They got to do something with her soon. And she got physical with Britt Baker, which is great that they're doing that, except I would have kept the two of them away from each other for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have them jaw jack at each other, but I would have Britt Baker heel out and run away every time, and have Jamie Hayter take her, and have Rebel take her. You know, like, I would have that happen rather than what they're doing, because, like, and if I had to guess, Britt Baker said, I want her now. And if I had to guess, the reason why is because Saraya's never going to be hotter than she is right now.
Right.
Because as soon as she starts taking on a Ruby Soho or a Jamie Hayter or a Riho or any of those people that are in it, like, it's going to cool her off.
Yeah.
Right. So give her to Britt right now when she's at her hottest. Britt can take a loss. Saraya needs a win.
Yeah.
Saraya. But, you know, at the same time, I have to think that Britt Baker's probably thinking her bump card might already be cashed out.
Yeah.
So let me get her first. Let me have, like, I'll take the L. I'll give her one great match, because that'll put me even, because she is AEW Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know, because I'll tell you right now, what's her face? That used to be the werewolf character.
Ember Moon.
Yeah, the one that was Ember Moon. She has looked like crap.
Athena.
She has looked like crap for AEW. Like,
they're not booking her right though.
But we watched that 4-way dance at the movie theater.
All of them look like crap in that.
That match was garbage.
It wasn't just her; it was all of them.
But she shit the bed in that match, and she is better than that.
Yeah.
But yet, I think it's because they're not practicing. Like, just here's the thing about, and a lot of people don't necessarily know this. I want to take a look at the chat real quick. Gentleman Villain is what Rio was called. Thank you, Chris Barrett, for that. And Michael Turner said Sunshine. But you know, the thing that a lot of people don't know about the Performance Center is that those wrestlers, to get themselves ready for their big time matches, would wrestle those matches in one of the 9 rings over and over and over again. So it was wrestled till perfection, right? And that's why Athena looked as good as she did when she was Ember Moon. You get to AEW, and you're expected to go out there on Tuesday night or Wednesday night or Monday night and do your shit. That's it. They're not doing shows like house shows. They're doing Dynamite, which is Rampage, and they're also doing Dark at the same time. We've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, we watched 2 out of 3 at one point because they were both in town. So they're not on the road constantly. So the only way that these wrestlers are on the road constantly is if they're doing what Thunder Rosa was doing, which is literally going to every promotion and saying, I'm going to take a match. That's the only way to stay in ring shape if you're not at a performance center. You know? So does AEW need a performance center? Absolutely. However, the performance center is really there to get people ready. And that's why, like, Shawn Michaels came out this week, right before Halloween Havoc, and he did an interview, and he said that the Performance Center is a great place for NXT wrestlers because NXT wrestlers are looked at as like they're collegiate athletes.
Yes.
And Raw and SmackDown obviously are looked at as the NFL or the NBA or whatever. So it completely understandable. But at the same time, you know, we're getting ready to talk about Halloween Havoc because I want to talk about it because I feel that the reviews that came in for Halloween Havoc were not nearly as good as the show itself was. And I do think that there was some things that it harped on and held on to a little too hard, but I also think that like the show itself was a lot better than
the show was excellent
than people gave it credit for. So
let's do that.
Well, let's talk about SmackDown first because that was Friday night.
No, I'm trying to get this done by within an hour and a half, so that'd be 10 o'clock.
You want to just do Halloween Havoc then?
We want to do SmackDown. I'm just saying I don't want to.
So what happened in SmackDown?
I was looking at Halloween Havoc. Sorry, you remember anything? What did happen? I know that. Oh, we're still running with the bloodline thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of his name.
Sammy?
Yeah.
Solo?
Head of the table. Roman specifically said, we know that Logan Paul's going to be here. Do not touch Logan Paul. Leave Logan Paul alone. And so they're like, and he's like, yeah, we're going to, and then here's Jay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it for the bloodline. We're going to do it for the bloodline. He goes, no, Roman said that too. She goes, I know, but I'm a hothead. And he walked away. I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna fuck this shit up.
You know, I wouldn't mind Logan Paul having a match with Jey Uso before Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like show that Logan Paul actually is a viable option to face Roman Reigns. Because do you think Logan Paul has a chance to win that championship?
I know good hell he's not winning that championship.
I mean, Michael Turner, do you think that Logan Paul has a chance to win in that championship? Justin Darr, do you believe that he has a chance? Chris Barrett, do you believe it? Because fact is,
he's holding that. I think he's going to hold that belt to WrestleMania. I heard he's going to hold it to WrestleMania, and one Cody Rhodes is going to be the one to take it from him.
But we can talk about that a little bit too, because we've already talked about that. But the idea here is that Logan Paul's the baby face.
Mm-hmm.
Fans don't want to cheer him.
No, but they're cheering the shit out of Roman. And Roman's supposed to be the heel.
So I almost see a disqualification finish or something. I almost see them pulling some bullshit where Logan Paul gets a W, but doesn't win the championship. Yeah. So they can then set up Survivor Series or something, which would be Logan Paul versus Roman in a steel cage or some bullshit like that, and then Roman like demolishes him. Yeah, you know, because the whole bloodline will jump into that steel cage. Maybe War Games. I don't know, but I know Logan Paul's got an actual contract with the WWE. I think it's for more than like 2 or 3 matches. I think that it's literally not necessarily to make him a full-time player, but it is to make him like
a Brock Lesnar, a part-timer.
Maybe not even as much as Brock, but maybe more than Brock. I don't know, because obviously Brock's coming back for Crown Jewel because Brock loves that $2 million paycheck for one day of work.
Oh
yeah. And they're like, I'm not even sure Brock wins the match against Bobby Lashley, but this whole Logan Paul thing. like, are they trying to fall on the coattails of his brother Jake Paul facing Anderson Silva this weekend? Like, I really don't know, and it's kind of annoying to me because, like, has his performances been okay in a WWE ring? Sure. But does he deserve a WWE title match?
No.
For the undisputed champ? Like, if you told me that he was going to get a 24/7 championship match, sure. You told me that he was going to get an Intercontinental Championship match. Okay. Gunther versus him? But what the fuck has he done besides win a match against The Miz?
Not damn thing.
You know, now granted, Miz is a 2-time Grand Slam champion. And then other than that, nothing really, like, blew me away about SmackDown.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, like you had Liv Morgan looking like a little bit of a beast for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But that was about it. You know? Okay. Did you watch the video? So since we're talking about SmackDown, did you watch the video that I sent?
I'd already seen it.
The
Liv does butt stuff.
No. That one was good though. But no, the one where Disco Inferno and Conan were interviewing Jesse Ventura.
What's the dude from Will Sasso?
No, it wasn't Sasso. It was Karrion Kross.
Oh.
Dude, have you not heard Karrion Kross doing his impression?
I have. I thought it was Sasso because you sent me the first one. It was Sasso. So
Right. But no,
that's the same one.
And the Sasso one, like his mannerisms, folks. If you haven't looked up Jesse Ventura impressions, Will Sasso from Mad TV does an absolutely incredible one where he's like, "We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get like," and I can't do it at all because like I'm not listening to it. But he's like, "I've got 300 dogs." And I've got this, and I've got this.
We got all the water. Water.
And if I run for president, I'll make sure everybody gets 7 ears of corn. And he's like, 7 years of corn? No, 7 ears of corn.
And he kept saying, no, I didn't say that. What I said was, you say something and didn't repeat it. I didn't say that.
And then he's like, I'd have to run as a Democrat, though, because I'll go against the Donald. And Donald is actually a friend of mine, so he'll give me the information I need to be able to beat him. And it was so funny. But dude, Chris Van Vliet did an interview with Karrion Kross, and they were working out together.
I saw that one.
And all of a sudden, Karrion Kross is like, "I'm gonna need you to go ahead and do I'm gonna need you to." I was a frogman, and because I was a frogman, I'm going to need you to do 17 push-ups. And he's like, Jesse Ventura's here, but the best one, I want to play some of it.
All right, we got 20 minutes.
I want to play some of it, and then I want to get to Halloween Havoc, and we don't really have to talk about Monday Night Raw or anything else. We don't want to because Raw was okay, but sorry, I'm suddenly I've got where I want to sneeze, but I'm not sneezing.
Yeah.
But where is it? So if you guys haven't heard this, I'm going to go ahead and play it for everybody. This is Killer Kross does the perfect Jesse Ventura impression, and this was with Chris Van Vliet. So here you go.
Don't tell me you don't have 4 more reps in you. Come on, Chris. Don't tell me it didn't happen. I was there. I was doing tricep extensions in the Gulf of Tonkin. I'm a frogman, so are you, Chris. Come on now.
It's amazing. He sounds just like him.
He sounds just like him. I was a frogman and in the Gulf of Compton, and that's what. So are you, Chris. But it's so funny. But the Disco Inferno one, he's like, so we heard, because Conan's like, so we heard that you have the actual intel of where Karrion Kross is, and since he was let go by the WWE, and he's like, I'll tell you right now, where he is he's locked himself in a bathroom somewhere, and he doesn't know how to get out, and they're like, well, could you slide the laptop underneath so that we could actually talk to him? He's like, I can't do that because there's copters going around, and if I sit there and do that, those Black Ops copters will be coming to my house. And that 9-minute interview, and it's fucking hilarious, dude. Because it's like he just keeps saying just random, and it's just like the Will Sasso one where like he keeps coming up with something else, and they're like, so are you saying that Vince McMahon was actually a robot? And he's like, he's an android. He sits there and he's not really even there. He's a hologram. He just You and I will listen to it after we get off of here. But so all right, holy crap, you know Jesse Ventura. So all right, Halloween Havoc.
All right. First match was the ladder match.
First match was the 5-man ladder match.
Think of it.
Von Wagner
With braids.
Well, I'm okay with the braids. Like I'm glad they actually gave him something besides that Cro-Magnon fucking head thing that he had. Like now he looks like one of the aliens from Mars Attacks.
Predator.
Like he's you know, like okay, whatever. But but he was a beast. Like the best way to describe him was like if he were Kane in the old Money in the Bank matches.
Yes.
Like he literally just threw people around, and then all of a sudden, like he got put through that one ladder, and you were like,
he's dead.
And that's exactly like if you and I were watching it, I would look at you and be like,
he did.
He did. Like that would have been it, you know. Interestingly enough, probably the one guy in that match that I always said would not have a chance to win. Wesley won the match.
Yeah, I told you.
But what happened before all that? They jobbed him. He finally got his way into that match, and then he shows out. Right at the same time, when he went backstage, Shawn Michaels hugged him.
Yeah,
like there's a video on WWE.com where Shawn Michaels is giving him a huge hug with his. I mean, like I have hair for the first time in years, if you want to call it that, right? But and my hair looks better than Shawn Michaels' hair right now. Sorry, HBK. Next match.
That was a ladder match.
Great match, by the way. Like high. Like I maybe not the greatest ladder match of all time. Maybe not even in the top 5 or 10. But a really good ladder match.
And then we have spin the wheel, make the deal, casket match. Apollo Crews and Grayson Waller.
This was a fun match.
They broke the first casket.
They had to keep telling you that the rules were you had to close the casket.
Yeah.
It wasn't just throw him into a closed casket because the casket was closed and Grayson Waller like threw him into it. And I was like, holy shit. I hope he's okay. And then the Druids came out with another casket. And what did Grayson Waller do? He pretended. He kept going to Undertaker moves. He tried for the tombstone. He tried for the chokeslam. He even did the like he did everything he could to sit there and like just keep pissing on legacies, right? And then something I didn't expect, Apollo won the match. Yeah. And Apollo won it by getting out of the tombstone and turning it into a backcracker. Almost like a lumbar.
Yeah.
Lumbar check. And then he kicked him into it, and then but it took forever for him to slam that door shut. Like I almost thought that Waller was going to get out again.
Yeah.
But again, a good match. Like, and this is why, like, I'm saying that I didn't agree with a lot of the reviews. So I read the Bleacher Report review after watching the show because I watched the entire thing as it was live. A lot of those shows I end up watching like 2 or 3 hours later, so I can skip through all the video packages or whatever. I watched the whole thing live, and I was like, good for them. Like I know Apollo was main roster.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, as Uhaa Nation, he was always looked at as a top guy on the Indies. So I know that he has it. But Grayson Waller, like, sure, he had a match against AJ Styles, but other than that, like, what's he done, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time that I felt like he actually kept up his end of the bargain.
She's got something from Bleacher Report, I guess, tonight on NXT. The Rock's daughter debut.
It's about time.
Yeah, that move.
Well, that probably also means that The Rock might be confirmed for WrestleMania weekend.
You think?
Well, because they'll have NXT that weekend and everything else, so don't be surprised if he at least goes into the Hall of Fame and out there, which could start the whole storyline of how can you go into the Hall of Fame when you're not even the head of the table?
No.
I don't want to hear it. What was the next match?
I'm going to tell you when we get off.
Yeah, that's fine.
Spin the wheel, make the deal. Weapons Wild match. Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez.
Cora Jade is going to easily become my new favorite female wrestler.
Really?
She's great.
What do you think of Roxanne?
She's 20.
Cora Jade's not that much older.
No, you're right. But Roxanne Perez at 20 years old is a fucking prodigy.
She was already ROH champion.
Yeah, but they didn't. They had Sumi Sakai, man.
Don't talk.
They
about
literally had Sketcher.
What's it? Orthopedic sketch.
Orthopedic Sketchers. Like, so they had the oldest woman in wrestling besides Mae Young and Moolah, who are both passed, but yet they would probably actually put them in a match anyway, just so they could say that they had Mae Young or Moolah in a match at Ring of Honor. And then they had Roxy, right?
Right.
The storyline wasn't as good as it probably could have been because neither one of them were as over as you'd like them to be as they do a storyline like this, where it's tag team partners should become tag team champs and then lose the tag team championships, which causes the dissension and the jealousy and everything else. We didn't get we got that, but we weren't bought into the two of them. Yeah. It wasn't like Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
Yes.
Okay? It wasn't like that. However, these two women stepped up to the occasion. The only thing I didn't like about the match was when they went up to the Gronk stand. And yes, I'm going to call it the Gronk stand because Vince McMahon had to take the bump because Gronk was scared. Fucking jerk. And them falling off of that, I wasn't sure who did the move. Yeah. And then when Cora Jade got up first, I was like, well, that doesn't seem right.
That got me too. And it almost looked as they landed, if you look, Cora made sure she had
she and then she tapped her. Which, by the way, I'm totally fine with the kayfabe moment of I need to make sure that my opponent's fine. Because remember, every wrestling move you do is protecting your dance partner.
And it's not only wrestlers, it's announcers too. Was a couple weeks ago on SmackDown when Jay came through the announce table and he collided with, you can see them.
Wade Barrett.
No, he collided with
Cole.
Yeah. And Cole's laying there and you can see they're laying there and you can see them Cole just to Jay let him know, yeah, I'm okay.
And I'm okay with all that. What I didn't like was Roxanne sits there and she hesitates, but then she puts her arm around her and they both go off the thing.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know who did it.
And I was like, but then they got back in the ring and Roxanne ends up hitting, what do they call it? The pop rocks?
Yeah. I'm
okay with that. I actually, although, what's the move?
It's the
fucking Canadian Destroyer.
That, but they call it something else too.
It's like a Canadian Destroyer into a power bomb instead of a regular Canadian Destroyer, which Canadian Destroyer was.
Orange Cassidy doesn't know. They call it something else.
I don't care what else they call it.
But that's
and Roxanne Perez wins the match. I'm totally fine with her winning. I'm fine with this going to separate the two of them.
Somebody's getting called up, I think Cora's getting called up.
I think she is. I think Roxanne is going to end up becoming NXT Women's Champion. Because we'll talk about that match here in a second. But But I'm telling you, man, like Cora Jade,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna say it because I'm a guy. She's hot. She knows how to play the role of the heel. She would easily fit in with almost any of the factions if you wanted her to. But she also has like that surprising quality of just being able to like make the crowd hate you.
Yep.
And in a feud like this, where, like I said, I don't think the buildup was as good as it needed to be, we still hated her. But we didn't love Roxanne enough. And the reason why I say that is because Tuesday night, she faced off against Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And Rhea Ripley, who is one of the biggest heels in WWE right now, got cheered like a motherfucker in the NXT arena.
Well, yeah, you should welcome back. I mean, when they come back, they all get cheered.
They do, but she didn't do anything that made you want to continue to cheer her, and yet they were still cheering her, and they weren't cheering the newest baby face in NXT, which, again, is a problem. Like, why don't we buy into Roxanne right now?
They need to build her up somehow.
They do, and I think that the way they're going to do it is now she's going to go up against Toxic Attraction.
Okay.
All three of them.
Ambulance match. Creed and Kemp. Slobber knocker.
A better match than it had any right to be. And I hate ambulance matches because you're always waiting for that moment where, like, they get to the door and then the hand holds the door open.
Or they did a little different. He wouldn't let the door close. He kept putting his hands there. He slammed it. Ah! He was slamming it. No, he slammed. Ah! I'm like, every time he slammed it.
And because it was Creed who already had the busted hand, they're sitting there and they're like, he doesn't care if his hand is broken. What the fuck's he need that hand for? He just needs to keep putting it in the doorway. Like, I thought he was going to lose.
I knew he wasn't going to lose because they're not going to let his brother.
But I thought they would get called up.
So he get called up.
Yeah, so if his brother can't wrestle in NXT anymore, well, call him up to Raw. Have him go up against Gable and Otis. Or, hell, have them join Gable and Otis. But, like, that kid went to Duke University.
They both did.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they're from right down the road from here. But great match. Like, it, again, had no reason to be that good. And I didn't think Kemp was that good. And Kemp held his own. Especially for as few matches as I actually seen with the guy.
Alba Fire, Mandy Rose. Now, what I'm going to say.
You got to start at the beginning of the show here.
Well, they were in the
when Mandy Rose and Gigi
yeah.
and JC Jane all showed up, and they're like, I'm not going to that. No, I'm not going in the haunted house. No, fuck that. I'm not going to that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, Gigi finally sits there and goes, you know what? It's three of us. Let's go do this. And then they all go in there. They're all fucking like creeped out by everything going on. I fucking love it. The only thing that would have made it better was going back to the In Your House Halloween Havoc from a couple years ago or whatever, when Johnny Gargano had the picture of fucking Michael Hayes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
P.S. Michael Hayes.
Well, but what was his name?
P.S.
No. It was Doc Hendricks. It was a picture of Doc Hendricks. Like, that would have been the only thing. Like, I would have had people like Dexter Loomis show up, and do crazy shit. Alba Fire drives Mandy Rose all the way back to the ring.
Mandy Rose has come so far from where she started. I actually believe that she's untouchable. And this new gimmick, you're gonna put respect on my name gimmick. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. And she's a badass. And I don't know how she did it, but she got hotter. I mean, she went from being a smoke show to being smoking hot constantly, but now she backs it the fuck up, dude. And
Dolan and JC Jane don't even need to be by her side for her to be the champion right now. Like she made it sound like I'll do this myself if you're not coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, like I watched this match. The match ended kind of wonky, whatever, but you're absolutely right. Like, she went from being somebody who was just
eye candy
to being somebody that, like,
okay, believable.
I could see her being a mystery opponent in the Money in the Bank next year and walking out with it. Like, she could still be in NXT, and then all of a sudden at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, she gets announced as the 6th entrant or 7th entrant or whatever, 8, whatever, however fucking many they have in that damn thing now. And all of a sudden she walks out with it, and you're like, holy shit. She went from, like, being on NXT as a champion for over a year. She finally loses the belt, and now she...
All right, and then the main event.
You sound disappointed.
No, I'm tired.
Yeah, I know. It's about time.
The main event, Breaker, JD McDonough, and Ilya Dragunov, which
banger.
I kind of thought that Dragunov was going to pull it out.
I thought that McDonough was going to pull it out because they did that moment where all of a sudden, like they threw him out of the ring, then Breaker and Dragunov are sitting there like finisher for finisher, and McDonough slides in the ring, pushes Breaker out of the ring, pins Dragunov, and Dragunov kicks out at 2, and you're like, what the fuck?
That was close.
And then they do that moment where Breaker goes to, or Dragunov goes to pin Breaker, and McDonough stops the referee's hand from hitting 3. Like, he slides it underneath the ref's hand so he can't count 3. And you're like, fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is amazing. Except, to me, he looks like a character off of Cobra Kai. He looks like Robbie from fucking Cobra Kai.
He does.
At the same time, probably Braun Breaker's best match that he has had. And he's had matches. He's now had, 3 matches against Dolph Ziggler?
Yes.
He's had at least 2 matches against Tommaso Ciampa. Like, this was easily his best match, and you didn't want him to win. And yet, when he won, you still...
Sorry. Didn't mean to do that.
When he won, you still cheered him.
Because I figured Breaker would lose and they move him up.
I think Breaker moving up is going to be day after WrestleMania.
So you think he's got another 5-6 months?
The only other way that they move him up right now is if they move him up in the Royal Rumble. And I almost hope he's not the surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, because he doesn't have a chance of winning the Royal Rumble. And those surprise entrants are people that you're like, okay, go ahead and just throw in Apollo Crews this year.
Yeah, but we know this. One of the surprises are probably Cody coming back to win the Rumble.
You want to get into that?
If you can hold it under 10.
We'll keep it short. We've only been on an hour and 20 minutes, so. I said 4 or 5 months ago at this point, you have 2 people that you can have win the Royal Rumble that are coming back from injury. You have Big E. You've got Cody. Big E looks like he's going to be out longer.
Yeah.
He looks healthy, though. So at this point, I think his neck is finally fused correctly without needing surgery, which is great. Now it's about, like, rehab and everything else. Get him ready. Probably have him come back at, like, SummerSlam. So ideally, Cody is going to be the guy that comes back at Royal Rumble. Cody could come back before that. The 30th anniversary episode of Raw is in January as well. It's like second week of January.
Did we just do a 25th? No, that was 25th of DX.
25th of DX,
Okay.
exactly. 30th anniversary of Raw is January 13th, 2023. Something like that. And you could have them come back then. Which would be good. But you know who I'd actually rather bring back at that show? The Rock. If you're going to bring The Rock back, bringing him back at the 30th anniversary Raw makes more sense than bringing Cody back at the 30th anniversary Raw. Here's the problem with that scenario either way. You bring The Rock back, you expect The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. You don't do The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. You got to do Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania.
Yep.
But if you bring The Rock back at the 30th anniversary Raw, why isn't he facing Roman at WrestleMania?
He could have something to do. Well, you don't want Cody to win like that. I mean, The Rock could cause Roman to lose.
So you make a good argument. What if instead of Cody coming back at Royal Rumble, he comes back at the 30th anniversary of Raw and gets the match against Roman at the Royal Rumble? He beats Roman at the Royal Rumble, but The Rock wins the Royal Rumble. Then you have Cody versus The Rock at Royal Rumble, or at WrestleMania. Could do something like that. Or you do The Rock comes back at the 30th anniversary of Raw, challenges Roman. Roman does some dastardly shit at the Royal Rumble to beat The Rock, which then sets up Cody versus Roman.
But Rock pays, but the dastardly shit, he comes back, like I said, and causes Roman to lose.
And yeah, like
distracts him or something, you know what I mean?
Because WrestleMania is in LA, you have the best opportunity to bring The Rock in, right? But The Rock can't just be there twice. He can't just be there three. He's got to do what he did against Cena. He's got to do like a 4-month program, right? And if you remember, the second year with Cena, it wasn't even just that 4-month program. It was
a year.
It was, I'm facing CM Punk twice. I'm facing John Cena at WrestleMania. I'm winning the world title from CM Punk. I get CM Punk gets the rematch against me, and then I face John Cena and lose the belt to him. So I mean, like you get all this extra time and everything. If Cody comes back at Royal Rumble and Cody doesn't win the Royal Rumble, I don't know why you bring him back at the Royal Rumble. If The Rock is going to face Roman at WrestleMania, you got two options. Get the belt off Roman or make Roman work double time. And it's okay to make Roman work on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes. Because
the guy hasn't worked more than 12 nights the entire year, right? So getting him to do that, I'm okay with it. Or you have to do exactly what I said, which is at Survivor Series, you sit there and you go, okay, Survivor Series, we're going to take the Intercontinental Champion Gunther, we're going to take the U.S. Champion Seth Rollins, we're going to put them in a match, and whoever wins that match becomes the Raw World Champion. Right? That means Gunther wins. Gunther moves over to Raw. I don't care. I'm fine with that. Does that mean Imperium works over? I don't care. I'm okay with that. Because it's a 3-hour fucking program, and right now, I don't think there's enough star power on Raw to actually make it a great program.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that a little bit, and I know that we don't really have time because you want to get off here. But I do want to talk about Judgment Day because they've been fucking amazing recently. And now everybody in the internet wrestling community is saying exactly what I said. And we said at the beginning of this whole Judgment Day thing when Dominic finally joined. and that's that Dominic should change his name to Dominic Guerrero.
I don't think he's going to change his name though, but he did kind of.
I think that there's something that could change that. I think Rhea Ripley could sit there and then him sit there and go, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then she puckers up, puts one on his lips, and then he sits there and he goes, I denounce the Mysterio name, and I am now Dominic Guerrero. And by the way, what would make that story even better, but you can't do it, is if they were able to get Vicky Guerrero out of her AEW contract and had her endorse Dominic Guerrero.
No, Vicky, but I can get her daughter. Her daughter's a wrestler. Her daughter used to wrestle WWE.
Yeah. But getting Vicky Guerrero to be like, excuse me, and then come out and say,
that wouldn't work.
Oh, dude, they would hate him even more.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Rock thing, it's causing so much, like, here for me, it's causing calamity at this point. I don't know if The Rock is showing up, and if The Rock's not showing up, Cody has to win Royal Rumble. If Cody wins Royal Rumble, does Roman Reigns sit there and say, you get to choose one of the championships you go after? And then Roman finally lose a match, because Roman hasn't lost in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Even though he did lose to Kevin Owens, and they fudged that shit. So I don't know. And where the fuck has Kevin Owens been after he went on like that mini tear for a little while? So, anyways, lots going on. Michael P.S. Hayes needs to be in all the haunted houses. I see. Yeah, Chris Barrett agrees with me. Yes, Cody wins the Rumble and wins the title at WrestleMania. It does seem to be the most likely scenario right now. I agree with all that. Unless The Rock is at WrestleMania. And putting The Rock at WrestleMania versus Roman and making it so, you remember last year at this time when Edge went against Roman, I sat there and said, what if Roman said, Edge, you want to face me, you have to denounce the Hall of Fame induction if I win. And then I get to claim that I'm the Hall of Famer Roman Reigns, and you don't get to claim that you're a Hall of Famer anymore. What if The Rock coming back to face Roman Reigns, The Rock has to defeat Roman Reigns on Saturday night, and if he doesn't go into the Hall of Fame.
But then they'd have to work around that, because The Rock's going in the Hall of Fame. They'd have to figure out something.
Except I don't know if The Rock's going into the Hall of Fame yet.
Eventually, when they decide to put him in, they'll have to do something.
They would just put him in. Like, it just wouldn't happen this year. Remember, Ric Flair, hey, we're putting you in the Hall of Fame, and you can wrestle as long as you can until you lose. And then Shawn Michaels was like, I love you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? I totally, like, I would love them to sit there and take that storyline and say, we want to put The Rock in the Hall of Fame. We want to do it in Hollywood. But if he loses, he doesn't get in. Or he has to sit there and say, Roman's not only the head of the table, but he's also the Hall of Famer. I'd love it, dude.
Yeah, they do that, though.
Dude, it's story. It doesn't mean anything besides the story. And it would be great. You know it. I know it.
But then they don't do it.
You're right. I don't know if they would do it. I'm just saying that, like, I would buy it. I would buy into it. I would think it's amazing. I think it's the way to go.
I mean, yeah. And Crazy Nikki's. All right.
Yeah. And nobody understood who she was.
That shit was hilarious.
because
she
didn't
full
look
face of makeup.
because she didn't look anything like Crazy Nikki, and she didn't look anything like Nikki ASH. So they're sitting there like, who is that? Like all night, who is that?
Oh, it's Nikki Cross.
Well, they argued over if it was or not. Like they didn't know, and that's a problem. Go ahead, Tino. I know you want to get out of here.
Folks, you can catch him on the Twitter. He's at PotCheck. I'm Hoodie Fan 91. You can catch the show, Potsy and Tino. You can catch the Potsy and Tino show on Facebook. He's got so many. On Instagram, here we go. Rob Potsy PotCheck.
That's one.
Rob PotCheck.
That's two.
Junior High Horrors.
That's three.
The Immortal the Comic.
Immortal the Comic. That's four.
I'm missing one. You don't even know.
Hold on. I'm sure there's another one, but I don't know. Oh, no, I don't have another one.
And that's Instagram. Are you on Snapchat?
I am.
You Potsy PotCheck.
I'm not Potsy PotCheck on Snapchat.
On the TikTok. We're Rob PotCheck.
Rob Potsy PotCheck.
Rob Potsy PotCheck.
Rob Potsy PotCheck on the TikTok.
Potsy and Tino show. I'm Tino G on there. God, we got so many. You can catch us here on YouTube.
Rob PotCheck.
On the Potsy Pan Network.
Yeah.
Potsy Pan.
Yeah.
We're the Potsy and Tino show. As always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song. You can catch it on 99 cents. 99.
Hold on. You can go to the keenspotshop.com/collections/Rob-Potcheck to buy any of my comics.
I got too much shit to remember. No.
I just said it.
Okay, there you go. Until next week, folks. We're out of here. He ain't got the music ready. But I hear a boy off in the distance. It's not Flair. It's not even the Macho Man. It's Ted.
You're going to face The Undertaker. Flair. In a six-pack challenge match. Where if you beat The Undertaker, you're going to face The Undertaker. Flair. Oh!